It's tax and testicle tanning day. The breakdown starts now. Woo boy, welcome to the breakdown. I'm Tara Setmayer. This is the Rick Wilson, and we have got a show for you tonight.
Yes, we do.
I never in my life thought that I would ever have the terms testicles, tanning, and taxes all in the same sentence, but apparently
here we are.
Here we are in 2022. And Rick, since it's Tuesday, you know what that means because we will explain all of that in a minute. But first,
last week.
Yes.
As we wait to see what's next for President Trump, Mike Huckabee's education company wants to help your kids learn all about President Trump's greatest achievements during his first term.
Windmills, because they're killing eagles. They're killing the bald eagle and other eagles.
Is it sad that we're all desperate for Elon Musk to save us? Yes, it is. But who else is going to save us? Nobody.
We have two parties in this country, the patriots and the traitors.
The Democrat Party is the party of pedophiles. They're the party of princess predators at Disney.
If you do business with Disney, you support pedophiles. You support child molesters, groomers, creepy old people that prey on children.
Anytime they say equity and inclusion, it just means that they want to kill white people and rape kids.
Trump has got a body double. He's got a few of them, all right? And you people are too stupid to realize it. Trump didn't have his tie on so you could see. You could see the mask line.
Where did the word COVID ever come from, by the way? Where the hell did that word come from?
That wasn't Trump on stage. He had a mask on. He was an actor. One of his body doubles. He has many body doubles.
How do I know there was a stolen election? Because people told me there was a stolen election.
2022 is the last election.
Testicle tanning.
It's testicle tanning.
Half the viewers right now are like, what? That's testicle tanning? That's crazy.
I'm starting a punk rock band and it's called Testicle Tanning.
Once a society collapses, then you're in hard times.
Good grief. Where do we begin with this? Where do we begin? I mean, clearly sunlight is the best disinfectant, I guess, but testicle tanning? For those who are unaware of what...
Go on, Tara. I'm just...
What is happening? Because I don't think your testicles are on your chin. Unless you're, like...
No, the glow suffuses the whole room when the testicle tanner is on.
There are no words for this. When I thought of that, I was thinking of Thanos and that chin, from Marvel. So people, yes, are probably asking, what the hell are you guys talking about? What, you don't believe us? It's real. Tucker Carlson is back, okay? Back with another documentary about manly men, and claiming that men have lost all this testosterone. And now that he has this crazy promo out about this with this documentary that shows this insane homoerotic imagery, in my opinion. And one of the images looks like this. I think we have the still image of it. Yes. That is real, people. That is literally a testicle tanning operation going on. I don't even know what to say, Rick Wilson.
All I can say is even simulating a testicle tanning situation feels more than vaguely absurd. I was told growing into maturity that one kept the boys cool to have maximum performance.
Right.
And I was also told that skin cancer runs in my very Germanic family. So why don't I avoid sunburn or burning or tanning on the jugular region? So, Look, this is part. I mean, on the serious note, yeah, the MAGA melanoma, as somebody just texted.
Oh, that's fantastic.
On a serious note, this entire weird obsession with the death of masculinity from a bunch of people who are the most soft-handed video game playing waifu attentive weirdos is absolutely striking to me. And Tucker being the sort of avatar of American manhood. You listen, bitch, you used to wear a bow tie the size of a Vienna sausage, okay? You will never recapture your manhood after that fucking performance, bro. And these are a lot of guys who are not looking at the manhood question as something that means something about being a man, of having honor and dignity and courage and all those things. They're looking at it in this weird kind of Minz and Schoen style German, as you said, vaguely or not so vaguely homoerotic culture as part of their culture war. These are the people that are like, you have to stop watching sports and go out and do manly activities. Okay, cool.
Yeah, like apparently milking cows without a bucket underneath it. You have to see the whole video, folks.
You don't know where they're catching that milk, Tara.
Oh, gross. I see where. I see where this show is going today. Thank you, Tucker Carlson.
I don't think they've inserted their manhood into the culture war, but I don't think anywhere else. Hey-o.
But that's probably why Ted Cruz is talking about dog sex again today.
Yeah, I did not have that on my dystopian hellscape bingo card today of Ted Cruz talking about Pluto and Goofy getting it on. And I'm thinking, we've already seen Ted Cruz's porn selections once or twice on Twitter by accident, but you don't want to see that guy's Pornhub searches.
No, I don't want to see anything with that guy because he is the worst. But this is where it's, we're laughing about this because, again, like I say, laughter is good like medicine, so we don't cry or get ulcers. But this is actually part of a much larger, to your point, culture war and this idea of masculinity that has its roots at least in Nazism, which is another parallel. People think, it goes further back than that, but they use that imagery too to try to demonstrate their superiority.
There is a very precise historical antecedent to this in the rise of fascism in both Italy and in Germany in the 1930s, the 20s and 30s when you count the beginnings of Mussolini into the equation, which was, you're lost in war because something took away your manhood. Was it the Jews? Was it decadent Western culture? Was it some combination? And so they have this very obsessive kind of idea that you could recapture this magical Aryan thing. And it really does combine to a slightly ludicrous degree, because once you put into the equation people like Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro, you've already dragged down the curve so far that no amount of Giga Chad type obsessiveness is going to put them back into the thing. This is part of this whole incel culture. And the thing about all the incel culture types is they seriously believe that something is underneath this more than just cultural trolling, and it's just not.
Right. It's in their imagination, and it's part of like another, grievance point for them to use in this. And we've seen this again creeping up in American society. And today's also the Oklahoma City bombing anniversary, and that whole situation was another example of extremism, of domestic terrorism. And those elements have only gotten stronger since then. And all of this is tied in, where that used to be, those were the absolute fringes. Now, those kinds of people are welcomed into the Republican Party. They're mainstream. Some of them are members of freaking Congress that are unapologetic with this autocratic, Putin
ideation.
Yeah, that's right. Putin loving, Viktor Orban worshiping, weird, gravitational pull toward authoritarianism in ways that I just never thought that I would see in this country.
No, it is fascinating to watch this happen. And look, this documentary of Tucker's, it is once again, I say this a lot, courage is the highest virtue. And these guys who think that they're going to recapture their manliness by being internet trolls for Donald Trump,
Yeah.
or by being, you know, part of
Bullies.
this sort of global agitprop network like Tucker,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we may have disagreements about what that means, but you know, these are guys again who come from a culture that is unbelievably soft,
Mm-hmm.
and they're the very ones who sort of recognize something's wrong, but just driving the politics out to the weird edge is not going to fix masculinity in this country.
It's not. And however you want to define that, that's a whole different discussion. But what I do know is that ain't it. Okay, sunburning your balls is not the way to go.
That's really low on my list.
So.
You know,
Okay.
displays of manly acumen that's low on my list.
Listen, I come from Jersey, where you know Jim tan laundry, and when they tan, they're not tanning their balls. I've got news for you. This is nuts. Moving on.
The phrase "tanning their balls." I gave a little Jersey twist at the end there. Is really the best thing I've heard all day. Tanning their balls.
I can't.
It's extraordinary watching them tan the balls.
It is not a new thing, folks. This is not a new thing. Please.
The comedy stylings of Rick Wilson, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be what they call in the business a hard turn. I wonder if Tucker got this from Putin. You think this is some kind of weirdo thing that like Putin and those guys do?
Well, Putin apparently does a lot of like he eats like a lot of animal organs and eats antler powder and a bunch of this other like weird homeopathic Russian garbage to keep his testosterone up. But look, there is a cultural reflection inside of these people that they don't want to look at. And they feel like their mana has been lost because they've decided that they're gonna be weak people and support a weak ideal, which is authoritarianism.
So they overcompensate. I mean, look at Hitler. Look at, you know, you can go back, you know, Napoleon and all. That's why they call it the Napoleonic complex. All these little tiny men in every way possible, including Putin, who's another little man. And
well, he's a wee fella. This is my favorite thing on the internet is people think I'm 5'2". It's my favorite thing on the internet. It's like, been 5'10" for like the last 40 years, so here we are.
Right.
But it's these little people, these small people. It's not just the stature; it's the intellectual construct around the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's that they are small people, and they believe in something that makes them feel better. You know, authoritarianism is not going to make you feel like a man.
No.
Go out in your backyard and chainsaw some shit. Then you'll feel like a man.
Or
go out and raise decent kids. You'll feel like a man.
That's right. Or pick up a weapon and serve your country with honor, and you know, see what that's about. It's not about being a bully, and it's not about, you know, running around playing soldier boy. It's awful. And then when you have these little men with these complexes with really big, powerful armies and weapons, you get what we're watching right now unfold in Ukraine.
Yep.
And which is awful, as we talked about last week, even though there were some wins and we were happy about that, like they sank that stupid Russian ship. But that assault on Donbas and the eastern flank of Ukraine has ramped up now. And you know, it's going to be a tough time ahead in the immediate future. And I'm not sure where that goes, but the fact that Putin awarded the unit that engaged in those awful war crimes in Bucha is just unspeakable, where he's continuing this propaganda war, where he's trying to convince the people, his Russian people, that they're heroes. This didn't really happen, but I don't understand how they square something, Rick. Maybe you can help me figure this out. I don't get it. He says first Russia said that didn't actually happen in Bucha, that those people weren't really dead people, and those women and kids weren't really raped. No, those were all actors, and the Brits probably did it. And you know, but then now he's turning around and saying, oh, but the soldiers that died there are the ones that
they killed the Nazis in Bucha.
Right, they're heroes now. Well, which is it? And doesn't this give a permission structure to others now to do the horrible things that they did there?
That's very much the authoritarian mindset of the truth is what I tell you it is today.
Right.
The truth is what I declare is before your eyes. It's the classic Orwell moment where, you know, is it 4 lights or 5?
Yeah.
This is the description of the perfect description of what authoritarians demand of their people, is to look at the lie and say it's the truth, to know it's the lie and say it's the truth. I will say this: we are in a position right now where a lot of the Western aid that has been flowing into Ukraine is about to be put on the front line.
Mm-hmm.
The Russians have not solved their other problems. Look, can Putin level Mariupol, Donbas, the region? Can he level them? Can he turn them into a parking lot? He can.
He already has in Mariupol.
Right. And it is entirely possible we're going to see, human suffering at an enormous scale. They still have not truly broken out yet. They're doing a little bit of what they call reconnaissance in force out of their eastern area right now.
Mm-hmm.
They are facing up now against the very, very best of the Ukrainian units. They're the most mobile. They're the best trained. They're the most experienced. They're the best led. They now also have in their hands every javelin and stinger they could want. They now are flowing into the system now are the Switchblade drones.
And that's thanks to our assistance.
That's
correct?
our stuff.
Yeah.
Switchblades are ours.
Yeah.
They've also
Javelins too, right?
they've also got some drones in the same category from the Turks, from the Italians, from the Brits. And this is going to be a war where or a phase of this war where the Russians are going to be having to try to advance with all the logistical problems they had before. They haven't solved those problems. Also under the most withering and best trained fire possible. And from what has been reported in the last few days, the degree to which American intelligence is being shared now has ramped up even higher. And so a lot of these things are going to be, if you're a Russian unit that fires artillery, you better move every 15 minutes or someone's coming to kill you.
And well, as they should. Because...
And I also think that the Russians have underestimated now the degree to which Ukrainians actually enjoy killing them.
Yeah.
They are now in this fight in a way where they recognize they have bloodied the largest army they could possibly face, and they've knocked them on their ass. And Putin has committed a vast percentage of the entire Russian armed forces into this battle.
I don't think people realize that. They don't realize that. That's why they're grabbing conscripts.
Right. If this is over,
because they can't fill the recruiting.
When this is over, and knock on wood, and God bless, and the Ukrainians are triumphant, they will have reduced the Russian military overall net capacity to wage war. They've already reduced it by about 30%.
Yeah, I read 20.
By the time this is over, it will be reduced to about 70%. And at that point, the Delaware National Guard could roll tanks from Kyiv to Moscow.
That's extraordinary. The big red army, as we thought, not so much anymore.
Look, they can still break a lot of things and kill a lot of people, but it's not going to be easy. And the Ukrainians have shown they're going to make them pay a terrible, horrifying, steep price. And they're going to stack bodies like cordwood. And it's still not changing the hearts and minds, of the Ukrainian people. They're not intimidated. They're angry.
They're more emboldened.
Also, quick shout out to our friend Malcolm Nance, who has joined the Ukrainian Foreign Legion, was announced last night.
Did he?
God bless you. Yeah.
Wow.
He's in combat in the zone now in the Ukrainian Foreign Legion. God bless you, brother. Godspeed.
Good for him. Wow. Much respect. Now that's courage.
Yeah.
What's not courageous is what the Republicans are still doing with January 6th and the election.
Yay.
Oh, there's more. There's more. It doesn't end. It's ongoing. And there's a couple of names that will sound familiar. John Eastman, remember him? The coup, the coup memo author. He's still back at it. Despite the judges ruling out in California that basically said, him and Trump and others probably engaged in some illegal shit. He's still going. They are still trying to decertify the election held in 2020. It's April of 2022, people. Give it a rest. You fucking lost. Enough is enough now. They don't have anything else better to do with themselves, apparently. So they're continuing to try to push this because they have a bunch of people who still believe it. So they're cultivating this. And what it does, as much as we make fun of them, but it continues to deteriorate trust in the institution of voting and our democracy. And that's where the most of this damage is being done. Because how many people now, how many Americans actually think that voting is not a sacrosanct event now, that there's integrity when they go to vote. Millions. So what does that do to democracy?
It's a corrosive, endless process. And the shocking thing about it is they could quit right now. And it wouldn't mean that Trump wouldn't necessarily win in 2024.
Yeah.
They could quit right now. They could cede that ground right now and say, okay, Biden won. They can't get out of their own illusion, because why? Just like Putin saying that the soldiers in Bucha were heroes, they have to live in the big lie. They have to never break character of the big lie.
It's almost like a Disney character.
Yep.
You're not allowed to break character ever when you're on Disney property. But this is a lot more nefarious, unless you're Marjorie Taylor Greene and the other wackadoos. I think there's some kind of pedophile ring being run. What does he call them? Princess pedophiles?
Princess pedophiles, which I think she should not say that to Ted Cruz. That might be something that he would add to his
Pornhub search
after Disney dog sex, whatever that was about.
Oh my
Mother of God.
Well, what else these people are doing is that they're trying to get different state legislatures to get rid of the Electoral College now, or pass all these resolutions to further undermine the electoral count. Now, before all this disaster, there were people out there who had this, they wanted to reform the Electoral College. I don't agree with that, but that's, there was a legitimate academic argument about the merits of the Electoral College before all of this mess. But now I just kind of feel like we need to not be messing around with that. But yet Republicans are doing this at the state level. So I always say, people, you cannot be asleep at the switch on the state level. Republicans are very good at using state legislatures to accomplish their goals. If you don't believe me, abortion, Texas.
Right.
Need I say more?
Right. Abortion, Florida.
Right. Well, it
voting
started
rights,
with what
voting
Texas
rights,
did.
Florida,
and now
Texas, everywhere else. Yeah.
Voting rights, Georgia, and how many other states. So this is part of a trend. So you, as my grandfather would always say, pay attention. Pay attention to what's going on with midterms coming up. And next month is primary season. It gets going underway in some big states like Ohio and Pennsylvania and other places. And so, voting is right around the corner, folks, right around the corner. Because what this actually is, it's about power. This is about all of this is about power.
Completely.
And just raw, unadulterated, integrity deficit power. And they're willing to say or do anything to get it. We've already seen this. And you look at what's going on with the January 6th committee and what we found out, more stuff with the Oath Keepers and the security. We see their text messages with their security.
I'm just going through that big trance of text messages from today. And the fact that one of these mooks put it in his appeal has opened up this entire thing of Ronnie Jackson needs our security. How did you know? How do you know that? Were you talking to Ronnie Jackson? Were you talking to somebody in the White House who said, get Ronnie Jackson out of the Capitol for us?
Ronnie Jackson, the former White House,
the former Dr. Feelgood,
right? That now is a member of Congress.
Right.
Go ahead.
But the revelations in this about the coordination between the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys and the dipshit parade around Stop the Steal. This iceberg, as I call it, the fecal iceberg, is slowly rising up in the water.
Yeah.
Now, it is up to the 1-6 Commission to get their shit together. Start knocking heads. I hear this thing from Thompson that they're not going to start hearings until June or July. Get the fuck out of here.
While everyone's on summer vacation and doesn't give two shits.
I mean, it is insanity. They need to move now. Walk and chew gum. Get a goddamn 1,000 paralegals in a room to go through the documents. You don't have to read them all yourselves, folks. This is important. They need to get this going, because any second now, the Office of Legal Counsel in the Justice Department will say, it's an election year. We can't do anything now.
That's exactly right.
And these son of bitches will get away with this. It is imperative the 1-6 Commission move their ass. They're gonna yell at me again. I'm gonna say the same thing I did last time. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong.
That's right.
Get off your asses. Prove me wrong. You have this thing in front of you. You need to start bringing these people before you. You need to drag them under the spotlights and make them sweat. I mean,
Prime time public
get
hearings.
Steve Bannon under those spotlights and do not let that greasy scab slither off his chair until you have made him say, I take the fifth 100 fucking times. Crack heads. Do the work.
It doesn't seem hard. It doesn't seem hard. I don't understand. They've gotten so much information now. They have plenty. I mean, Liz Cheney's been out there on the Sunday shows recently saying that they've got pretty much enough evidence to go after Trump too. Like, put him on blast. Like, I don't get it either. I don't know what they're doing, but it's go time now.
When I said what I said in October about the 1-6 Commission, and they had a huge shit fit.
I remember.
And then suddenly there's a burst of activity.
Yeah.
And they've been doing, but there is still a lack of bloodthirstiness about these people.
Feels like that.
They are not just like criminal suspects. They're not just people in some investigation you're doing about whether a defense contractor charged $200 for a hammer.
Right. That's right.
These people try to overthrow the government and murder members of Congress. They came to the Capitol in a violent insurrection. They were led and commanded to do so by people around the President of the United States of America. There was an active, ongoing, continuous criminal conspiracy to do this. Take it seriously. Get off your asses and make them suffer. Put them under the lights. Make them sweat. Run up their legal bills. Guys, this is a 101 strategy. Make them suffer. Cost them money.
Use Trump's own strategy against him.
Right.
That's what he did. That's what he does. I've used the term before. He was a vexatious litigant because he knew he had more money than the smaller contractors that he was going to fuck over, or the other people. He would just, bug them with these frivolous lawsuits because he knew he had more money than them. It's the same concept here. You think that Kayleigh McEnany and some of these others that have the money, the lower level staff have the money to lawyer up and have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. You think Trump's going to pay for it? Fuck out of here. No, he's not. So squeeze them.
This strategy has been used in the past during Iran-Contra and other hearings. And if you don't understand it, think about it for 5 minutes and it will come to you. If you start breaking these people financially and breaking them politically and turning their lives into a radioactive swamp, they will start to flip.
Yes.
The goal here is not to make Stephen Miller have a tearful confession. The goal is to have Stephen Miller or Mark Meadows or whoever break and say, yes, Trump ordered me. He ordered this operation to happen.
You're damn right I ordered the code red.
Damn right I ordered the code red.
That's right.
And I just hope that the commission will understand that you cannot hope. You're not dealing with standard issue Republicans. These people are trying to wait you out and play you out. And if you let them, well, first off, if you let them, you're going to get a lot more of this behavior.
That's
and
right.
Second off, if you let them, your own voters are going to go into 2022 with their dicks in the dirt, and they're not going to be happy, and they're not going to be motivated, and they're going to think you didn't give a shit. You didn't care hard enough. You didn't give a shit enough to fight to save the democracy that is in peril right now. Okay, that's enough of my rant.
Enough about that. Nobody wants.
But enough about me ranting.
Yeah, well, the Rick rants are fantastic, and no one wants to be written into the history books as being part of the group that allowed democracy to die. I know I don't want to be, and that's why we do what we do here at the Lincoln Project, and why all of you who support us do that, because we're fighting on the front lines here to save it. Two quick things about January 6th that I got to talk about taxes for a minute, for just a quick second, because the irony of Republicans proposing middle-class tax cuts tax increases is nuts. So Kimberly Guilfoyle testified in front of the committee, apparently. I don't know how much she screamed the best is yet to come through whenever they were asking her questions, but no, the best is yet to come. And then 8 hours later, we still don't have anything. I don't know if that really happened, but I think
that also happens a lot with.
Stop it. Mike Lee, Senator Mike Lee, we found out that he sent a text message to Mark Meadows asking him what he should say. He's, quote, please tell me what I should be saying about what's going on with the election fraud and all of that. And eventually Mike Lee and a couple others were like, there's nothing here. What are you talking about? But that doesn't exonerate Mike Lee, okay?
No,
he's another
he's not off the hook.
Prick, like the rest of them. And shout out to my friend Evan McMullen, who's running for Senate against him out there in Utah. Vote for Evan McMullen against Mike Lee and send Mike Lee back home. That's my PSA for tonight. Go, Evan. Lastly, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Some folks are trying to kick her off the ballot, say that she's ineligible to be a candidate because of this.
What, because she's an insurrectionist?
Yeah, perhaps. There's a couple states that have these laws. They tried this in North Carolina with Madison Cawthorn, but that in his state, they said no. The judge was like, no, that doesn't apply. But in Georgia, the judge has allowed this to proceed. They haven't ruled that she can't be a candidate, but they have not said that there is no standing, which is interesting to me.
Right.
And this goes back to that insurrection. Easter was just there. Insurrection, a little different. The idea after the Civil War that anyone that was engaged in insurrection or treason or anything against the country could not be was disqualified basically from being a member of Congress. So we'll see. We'll see. The fact that she has to go through this, and this is just, an annoyance at this point, good, anything to knock her off kilter and for her to whine. But I think it's an interesting case law precedent, possibly, where there could be some consequences for these people that engaged in this. So there's that update. All right, let's talk taxes real quick. So Rick Scott from your home state there. Rick, we couldn't get through a show without busting balls about Florida.
Right.
So
as stated, federal law requires on every broadcast, at least one Florida element must be included.
So Rick Scott has this tax plan that he released, which was very strange when he initially did this, when he first did this a few weeks ago. It raised a red flag to me because he's the head of the NRSC, right? So it's his job to protect and get Republicans elected in the Senate, right? And very rarely does the head of the NRSC is not in line with the Senate majority leader or minority leader. In this case, it's Mitch McConnell. But Rick Scott went and put out his own policy plan that included raising taxes on the middle class. And he wasn't alone in this.
No, he's been joined by Mike Gibbons
in Ohio.
In Ohio. And he's apparently working to get other Republicans on board with this because, as we point out, America's struggling billionaires need help.
Yeah. Listen, there's nothing wrong with billionaires.
God bless them.
That's right. Good for you. If you made your money legally and honestly, great. God bless capitalism.
God bless you.
However, last time I checked, like the not paying your fair share thing was what Republicans were apoplectic about with someone named Barack Obama and called Democrats socialists over this. And you didn't build that and all this. I mean, they threw a hissy fit for 8 years of Barack Obama's presidency over this. And yet this is now becoming this populist, weird perversion in the Republican Party to tax the middle class because they don't pay enough. What?
Well, the idea, and we put it out in the ad we released earlier this week.
Oh, let's play it.
Let's play that.
Let's run it. We've got an ad for that.
Inflation is tough on everyone. Raising kids or running a small business can feel like an uphill battle when facing down rising costs. And for retired Americans who depend on Medicare or Social Security, it can feel especially discouraging. Enter the Republican Party's plan to rescue America. Ask yourself, what's the most important priority for those struggling? That's right, paying their fair share.
Quote, all Americans should pay some income tax to have skin in the game.
No longer will households making under $50,000 watch helplessly as Wall Street suffers.
So that would raise taxes on half of Americans.
This bold new plan will ensure that even the poorest Americans can help protect our most valuable hedge fund managers and billionaires. And senior citizens who missed their chance to sacrifice themselves during the pandemic, don't worry. The Republican plan to rescue America ensures that you can turn those golden years into a golden opportunity for America's frightened billionaires.
They sunset programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security.
And that's, of course, the Democrat talking point. It's a
it's in the plan.
So, for poor families, struggling small businesses, and senior citizens who are dying to have some skin in the game, take heart.
It's not a Democratic talking point. It's in the plan.
The Republican plan to rescue America will skin you alive.
Nice. Their game, your skin.
Yep.
Well,
it is It is, and it's really remarkable that Rick Scott is defying Mitch McConnell about this.
Right, that's unheard of. People just don't
Fire truck
understand.
with lights and sirens just went by my house. So that's
Oh my!
exciting.
You don't smell smoke, do you?
No, not yet.
I got the rest of the show if you got to run.
Other than sulfur around me as a normal course of action.
Your testicles aren't on fire, are they?
No, not yet.
From all that tanning?
My testicle tanning equipment, which is a work light.
You're not sunburning your balls there, Rick, are you?
I sent Ryan and Michelle a picture of the work lamp earlier today, and they're like, oh, God.
You might be onto something. Anyway,
Could
go
be.
ahead.
All right. Well,
from testicles to taxes. Go ahead.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I think he's gonna. I think this is a bad move for the Republicans, and you know, their idea of economic populism going after every middle class family. You know, I was briefed years ago. We were trying to cut taxes on middle class families, and you know, back in the W years, the idea was the fewer Americans who have to pay taxes, the better.
Yeah.
So
I
are.
remember in the 90s when the contract with America
was
about balancing budgets and cutting taxes and all of those wonderful things that were supposed to be Republican orthodoxy that we are a far cry from now.
But you know, at least Elon Musk has now promised he can make Android catgirl sex robots. So, you know, there's some trade-offs.
And I'm sure that Ted Cruz has him on speed dial. On that note, that is the end of our show for this week, but I want to let folks know a couple of things before we go. We are going on hiatus, and we will be back for primary season. So we'll be back the week of May 4th to do a special, I think on Wednesday the 5th, we're going to do a post-primary special that Wednesday, and then another one the Wednesday after, and then back to our normal scheduled programming Tuesdays and Thursdays the week of May 15th or 16th. I think that is May 16th is Monday. Yes. So that's what's happening there. And we also have another announcement. We want to say thank you to everyone for supporting the Lincoln Project, but we have still another day or two of voting for the Webby Awards. For folks who don't remember, LP is nominated, and we are currently in the lead. We need more people to vote, though. We don't want to be overtaken. We are in the social news and politics category for the corporate responsibility campaign. And we're very proud of that, Rick. Your team should be very proud of all of that hard work.
They do amazing work, and we are really grateful for everybody's support on this. It means a lot. It's a big honor, big recognition, and we hope that you guys will
go vote.
We'll check that out. And I think we have a QR code to put up.
Yes.
If you guys scan your phones on the screen right now, that will take you to the voting page, and we'll post this also on social. But if you scan this and you go to the voting page, it'll take you right there. And all you have to do is make a few clicks, and you're good to go.
That's right. And pass it along to your friends. The more, the merrier. So we want to say thank you for that. And thank you guys, because you guys are the best audience out there for us. We enjoy all your comments and everything. We do read them, by the way. And if you're feeling like, hey, we got primaries coming up, we're starting to get into the election season mood, go check out the union. Our union project, join the union.us, help us save democracy in our collective effort. That's the clearinghouse. You can take a look, some areas you're passionate about. I guarantee you there's an organization in the union that we can connect you with. So go check that out, because it's too important not to get involved and pay attention. All right, folks, we will see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, everybody.
Stay safe.